What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is May 3rd of 2021. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And in today's video, we're going to be diving into Ethereum breaking above $3,000 to all new all-time highs. And again, what this signals for the broader altcoin space as well as the broader cryptocurrency markets. And I really want to hit on a really critical point that I think a lot of people have to keep in mind as we go throughout this extended altcoin cycle. And we've also got some time where we're going to be taking a look over a platform known as Altfins. They're our sponsor for today's video, so we'll dive into them later throughout the video. So let's go ahead and dive straight into it, guys. Taking a look over the last 24 hours here, we can see that on the top leaderboards here, Ethereum is leading by a long shot in regards to the last 24-hour move. And you can see here that across the board in crypto markets, there's a lot of green here. A lot of cryptocurrencies doing well or holding relatively neutral here alongside Bitcoin. But I want to go ahead and really focus in on what's important to note here, right? As Ethereum breaks above $3,000 and sets all-time highs, and really over the last past 2 weeks has just been ripping higher here. There's some important things we need to keep in mind here. First off, in the sense of Ethereum's price and where I think it's going, I think overall, again, like until I start to see signs where momentum's weighing, I'm not really eager to sell anything yet. Ethereum does have some reasons to be a market leader, to be going ahead and raising to higher valuations. You've got ETH 2.0 coming up in the distant future. You've got layer twos helping to offset the high gas prices or side chains like Matic or otherwise known as Polygon. And then outside of this as well, you've actually got real use case here of decentralized finance, potentially NFTs, etc. Right? But I don't want to spend too much time really talking about fundamentals because as much as we fundamentally know why cryptocurrencies are becoming more and more of a mature and valuable asset class, at the same time, price is really what matters here, guys. We're investors, we're traders. We need to understand how capital is flowing throughout the market. What's really interesting here is that not only is the US dollar chart doing great after having a pretty seismic breakout here back in April, right? And kind of a choppy exit with those higher general lows here leading towards this kind of euphoric run up here past 3,000, almost to 3,200. But outside of this as well, if you've been watching the Bitcoin chart on the longer term time frame, this was kind of expected, right? As we've talked about consistently since back in August, September of 2019, we've been setting at higher lows and higher highs. And we did just what we've done the last few times. We broke past the previous all-time highs, or excuse me, the previous relative highs of this cycle, right? So we haven't been to this range, bear in mind, against Bitcoin since all the way back in July to August of 2018. And what's really interesting and important to keep in mind is that Ethereum historically, right, except for the bear market where altcoins aren't faring well, tends to set higher ranges against Bitcoin. It starts to consume more Bitcoin per ETH in this case. I guess consume is not the right term. You'd be able to exchange one ETH for more Bitcoin, usually at all these different highs and lows within the cycle. And whether or not we surpass the previous all-time highs and continue to that trend, right, as we tend to do in most bull markets as assets continue to grow, either way, just here in the interim, right, Ethereum's doing exactly what it's been doing for the last few years since the bottom in 2019. It's just setting on those higher lows and higher highs. Now we are on the upper band here. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum starts to maybe cool down a little bit, but again, I digress on it. Until I start to see that momentum waning on the weekly, it usually gives us a good warning sign ahead of time to lock in the vast majority of these gains. I'm staying in altcoins. And there's a reason for this. Because if we take a look at the actual important thing that a lot of people aren't focusing on, you guys know if you watch this channel, I'm crazy about ratios. I'm really crazy about understanding, looking at different market dynamics that people aren't really looking at, but smart money and larger scale investors really are. And that is, in this case, a ratio of the Ethereum market cap to Bitcoin. Now, this is an important metric because Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? You can look at their US dollar charts. You can even compare Ethereum to Bitcoin in price, but they have different monetary schedules. And what's really important to see is, how much of Ethereum's market cap, if you were to compare it or divide it by Bitcoin, what's the ratio you're going to get? Well, today's pretty interesting and quite historic here in this rally because we're technically slightly above a third of Bitcoin's market cap for ETH. So just for some simple math to visualize it, If Bitcoin's market cap is $1 trillion, Ethereum's is around 333 billion, right? So again, a third in that case. But what's been interesting here, and again, you won't see this just looking at the normal Ethereum chart to Bitcoin, is that we've actually built up this really clean set of higher lows and lower highs, building and coiling in a wedge here, where Ethereum is now starting to actually materialize its equivalency of a bull market. We're in this phase right here, folks. We're in the breakout phase. And this is not a time to get fearful on altcoins. I'll give another example here. Outside of this, well, we've got Litecoin, right? We've been kind of raging on about this setup with Litecoin, popped up over 40%. Again, Litecoin's market cap divided by Bitcoin's market cap, bear in mind, right? You generally are looking at the LTC, BTC pair, or the market caps divided by one another. It doesn't really matter. You can see here that we've had a great breakout month. Not as strong as what we had back here in March 2017, but it might be that we get some of that price action later, or maybe it takes longer than the last two pop-ups that we had, right? From the general discount zone to the extended sell side zone. That's where we take general profits in that range, or at least that's what we're planning to do, right? But again, focusing here on altcoin dominance, right? We not only have that double bottom down here at previous range of support back here in 2017, we had the expanding line of resistance that we kept tapping up to, and we finally pressed above that. We pressed above 50% resistance, and it looks like altcoin dominance once more, because there really isn't any historic resistance until around 60 to 61%. And that's a lot of value add for altcoins in the pipeline, especially considering that some of the plays in the market, again, like Dogecoin, maybe even BNB, if ETH starts to steal back some of its market share from BNB or Binance Chain, then again, Ethereum can make much larger moves because it's not trying to capture dominance from Bitcoin. It's taking dominance from other altcoins in the market as they might pull back and some of that liquidity flows to Ethereum. Not saying that's going to happen, not here to build a competitive argument. I'm just saying, again, liquidity tends to cycle throughout markets. Now, again, the last metric here that I want to talk about before I dive into this really important point that I want people to focus on. You guys might be like, Nick, why are you constantly talking about Ethereum? Why are you talking about Litecoin? They're obvious cryptocurrencies, and I'll explain that in a moment. As you can see here, though, guys, we are still in the early stages here of the cycle. Whether we've got a cool down coming here around, this is, by the way, just to provide some context, this is total 2. It's the entire cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin, right? So again, this is pretty much altcoins as a whole are valued at a range around what Bitcoin's valued at, right? Slightly over $1 trillion asset. And we broke through back here in February beyond the previous altcoin all-time highs back here from January 2018. And we're continuing through. And this is happening, and bear in mind, we had what many people would have seen, as we talked about in our previous video, optimistic expectations here. When in reality, this is blowing beyond the trend we were expecting for, right? This is really going much further ahead of schedule, where our previous expectation that we wouldn't top out until December 2022, and even if we have a pullback, it might be very difficult for it to take that long. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner, right? All right, now here's the big point that I think a lot of people aren't going to tell you guys. And this is something that I've been growingly more, not per se concerned about, as I do have some small and mid-cap positions. It's not to say that they won't do well in this market. I think I've filtered out some pretty good plays. But at the end of the day, a lot of people have wondered, for myself, why am I focusing extensively a lot on the large caps in the market? And there's 2 critical points for this. One, if you understand about what's known as kind of, a lot of people, like my good friend Rhett Capital in the crypto space, they talk about something known as the money flow cycle. And this is basically a process of how gains that are made within Bitcoin, right, money or fiat currency that had flowed into Bitcoin, now is going to start speculating in a variety of other assets. And predominantly, you're going to be looking at Ethereum. You're going to be looking at Litecoin, Cardano, Polkadot, these larger cap cryptocurrencies, Dogecoin, great prime example of this, right? Those large cap cryptocurrencies, and it's going to flow out into other places in the market, going into the smaller market caps. That's one critical point you need to understand. So that's why, obviously, Ethereum is starting to champion against Bitcoin, starting to outpace Bitcoin, right? And the same goes here again for Litecoin, right? We're just in the beginning phases of this. This is going to take a couple months here. But there's something else to keep in mind, guys, which is different this time around compared to the last cycle. The markets are much more liquid now. But it's important to note that the liquidity, or the amount of capital and circulation in this market is not trading a variety of small and mid caps as much as they used to. Right? What we're seeing now is a lot of that liquidity circumferenced in, or basically kind of circling or focused in derivatives markets, right? Trading leverage, right? Leverage trading has become a massive part of this market. I'm not telling you guys to go leverage trade. I would highly advise against it for most people because most people, not to be rude, and this kind of, I can put myself in this camp sometimes, don't know how to day trade. And along with that as well, sure as hell don't know how to use leverage. And I'm telling you guys that because I care about you in this case. I want you to protect your returns and not give up on such a great opportunity. We very rarely are going to get these opportunities in our lives, right? So to my point here, though, as derivatives trading has allowed people to take more risk and more possible profit exposure, right? In some of the larger caps here that are much more liquid, much more liquid order books and actual trading that have been time tested to some degree. People are completely fine just trading on leverage with the cryptos that they're familiar with, right? And this is changing the dynamic here where I think if we do see small and mid caps take off later down the line, it is going to be much later down the line. It's not going to be soon. The large cap phase of this altcoin cycle is going to play out much longer. And it's certainly going to come first because that's how the crypto money flow cycle works. People get more and more risky as they make profits from Bitcoin, the large caps to the mid caps and the small caps, right? So anyways, that's a few critical points I wanted to share with you guys here. Again, if you guys are curious about what I've done since Ethereum has broken above, technically now it's actually gone up to $3,200, which is pretty cool. If you guys are wondering what I've done, I haven't done a damn thing. The only thing I've been doing is, again, making sure my crypto is working for me. I've been focusing on earning interest on my assets, etc. Doing very common things that I would do as a long-term holder, right? And again, if I start to see signs here that the altcoin cycle is over or it's overextended, then yeah, I'll make sure to reallocate my portfolio. But I'm riding the wave here, guys. This is what you jump in for, right? You don't want to try to challenge the wave because you sometimes can sell too early. And outside of that as well, you also don't want to be caught holding it, for the extension of history, right? Right. My whole goal here is to wait for signs that I should be fearful because every time you've pulled back, it had not only previously set new all-time highs, generally speaking, but outside of that as well, it held higher lows, right? And as we talked about with Bitcoin, there's no reason to per se be fearful, and even in this environment, right? Bitcoin literally to the drawing we made back here on April 24th, it's literally following that, which is a bit eerie. But you can see here that again with something like Bitcoin, if we do start to roll over here, like on the drawing that I put on my chart, this is the concerning factor here, is if we start to have lower highs and lower lows, right? Lower significant lows, lower significant highs, right? If price peaks out here against 60K, or as we previously topped at 65K, this is price showcasing that bulls are less willing to pay at those price premiums, right? Around, they're not willing to bid up the order book all the way up here to 65K. And the asks in this case, right, are tolerant in this case, excuse me, the sellers in this case are basically driving price lower, right? They're taking profits. The previous bulls are now taking profits into lower ranges here, right? So anyways, guys, that's it in regards to the kind of main core part of this video. But I do want to spend some time as we're going through and trying to analyze a very, very noisy market. There's one application I'd say outside of TradingView, right, being one of the major tools in the crypto space that actually has me quite excited, and that's AltFins. Now, I have to say, we had previously had AltFins as a sponsor on the channel before a while back, and from when we last spoke about AltFins, pretty much about a year ago, a little bit less than a year ago, but last summer, the platform has made a lot of really cool changes to the platform. And I want to go ahead and just dive through the kind of brief introduction of what AltFins is. So AltFins, for those of you who maybe traded and invested in traditional markets, I like to think of AltFins as kind of it's a broad finance platform, but it really excels in its screening, portfolio, and news tools in this case. So it's aiming to kind of be an all-in-one kind of platform for traders and investors in the market, simply put, to kind of get all the data you need. Again, I think a similar platform that you guys could probably relate to if you've traded in traditional equities is FinViz in this case, which I use for screening stocks for my newsletter, etc. Right? So let's go ahead and just dive into some of these things here. So right when you get to the dashboard here, you can see here that we've already got some trading patterns they're showcasing here Engine USDT, BNB ETH, Chili's USDT, right? These are all showcasing certain technical setups. And the really interesting thing about this is that with a lot of these trading patterns here, what we're seeing, it's basically AI generated patterns. It's an AI that's trained to spot potential patterns in the market. And whereas if you were a normal average investor, there's thousands of pairs out there and you can't keep up with all of them. So if you're looking for good trade setups, that's what's really important here, to be able to have potential opportunities to make some kind of return in a window of time, and to be able to know what pairs are shedding, are basically showcasing these technical patterns. So let's go ahead and dive through some of these here. There's a few different things on the sidebar. This is your kind of single point of navigation here across the Altfins platform. They keep it really clean. So you've got your patterns here in this case, which again are going to showcase a variety of different cryptocurrency pairs that the AI is spotting here. So for example, here, this is showcasing an opportunity for Dash to go lower. You can come up here, for example, you can see CET USDT. It's saying here that it broke through resistance level at a specific price on May 3rd at a certain time, 9 UTC. Possible bullish price momentum forecast for the next 14 hours towards 0.0675, right? So it's showcasing a nice simple visualization. It's showcasing what the AI is spotting here. And this is how traditional screeners work. It's just that there really hasn't been a solid one that I'd found out there in the market that sufficed for the crypto market. And Offense has done a really good job of this. Again, you can even look up, if you want, you can look up specific cryptos, right? So if I want to type in Uni in this case, there might be no setup. Maybe if I do BTC, right, it'll show me different pairs here of different cryptocurrencies. So again, there might not be a setup that the AI is spotting in this case, but I can see Bitcoin Cash, BTC, right, which I know a lot of people have been talking about, that this might be set up for a potential breakout. And I can tell you, looking at this, I like this setup when you're like really pressing up against resistance. You've had a good track record of higher lows, and it just looks like it's coiling in and getting ready to pop, right? So again, we can do this. We can filter by certain types as well. We can look for certain specific patterns. So let's say as a trader, you're really big about trading through channels in this case, right? So we can see here that 0x in this case, one of the decentralized exchange plays, on its tether pair has been in a nice channel here, right? So you can buy on the lows, sell on the highs, swing it through. Maker USDT, another great example here, right? So again, there's all kinds of filters you can set out if it's already been breaking out, if it's emerging, if it's coming up soon, and then also if it's a buy or sell in this case, right? Screeners don't just have to show you buy opportunities, they can also show you moments to be concerned and take profit, right? And also areas where you could go short if you have an opportunity to. Signal summary here, again, just kind of gives you a general summary of the overall market, whether you're looking at specific coins or pairs, about like how many are in momentum up moves in the market, or maybe, for example, in downtrends, if they're ranging in up or down trends. And you can also dive into these very specific fields as well as on different time frames. So to me, again, like this gives you a very, very high sense of data. But to be fair, again, there's not many trading apps that will give this kind of range of information. Now, this is where, again, the tool really becomes powerful, where Altfins really steps in. Though it doesn't look as cool as the other parts, I think, at face value, because it looks like a list of cryptos at the start, this is the screener here. And the screener is going to help you get a full analysis on the market and a variety of different setups, as well as all the key data here. So you can see here that on the side, we can already see that the short-term trend provides us some details here of how things are doing. Most cryptos, as you all probably know by now, are in strong uptrends or generally going up, right? But let's go ahead and dive over into a more visual aspect. Let's take a look at the charts here. And what's really cool is that Altfins basically generates these really nice simple line charts here that also factor in some momentum indicators, a general kind of general, not per se financial recommendation, but how the indicator would say to buy and sell. And what's really cool is that some of Altfins setups in this case have like a 70% hit rate, which for a trader is pretty impressive, right? Like to be able to have a 70% hit rate, meaning like you actually make profit on the calls. That's really cool, right? And again, there's no guarantee that these are going to give you guys absolutely winning trades. There's no system out there in the world that just absolutely guarantees profit. But what's really cool is this can help give you a good understanding about how the market is functioning in this case, what players are leading here, and to get a quick visualization of everything. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, we can do Uniswap, right? So if I want to look up Uni here in this case, right, which has been popping off, it gave a buy indicator back here on April 25th, a sell indicator back here on the 19th, right? you can basically type in any cryptos you want or filter by certain things, right? So we can go to the signals and filters, and we can filter by specific values. So let's say we want something, in this case, that, for example, we're filtering by volume in this case, right? Or certain trends or oscillators are popping up in this case, right? If we're starting to see here that there are certain trading patterns that we like in setups, we can start to filter these and add other specific filters here on the plays that we want to see. And we can also remove these different indicators as well. Now, going through here, there's a few other things I want to talk about. The watch list here. So as you guys can see when I clicked on this, I put like 3 of my currencies that I currently hold: Litecoin, Uni, and DHT or DHedge, DAO. And what's really cool is that you can build a custom watch list here. And what's really cool is that AltFins generates a beautiful set of charts here for you. Again, all here for me to see, right? To see different market signals and how these are performing. Again, you can completely customize this. You can build pair watch lists, asset watch lists, etc. Now, the last few things that I want to dive through here today, because I know I won't be able to dive through all of AltFins, is the news and events area. So this is where, again, a lot of traders will come just to get a complete list of everything going on in the crypto market, so you don't miss a beat. If you're someone who's trying to kind of catch opportunities before they pop off, you can filter here for certain tweets, for coins from the watch list. You can do specific events here in this case, right? We can do coins here again for our watch list. So we're only going to see events for the coins that we are watching or may own in this case, right? So again, just getting a whole read on the market. And there's a lot of other cool things here. The portfolio tool here that, again, we'll probably have to have some more time to dive into. And outside of that as well, not only being able to input your API keys so you can see your balance, but also being able to place trades here as well. So there's a lot of cool functions within AltFins. And again, the platform itself has gone from really originally, just from my knowledge or what I remember, being more, the solid use case here I think that AltFins had was the screener. But I have to say, after getting to chat with the team and go through the platform again, they've really gotten to the point where it is a broad financial application that a lot of traders can use. And again, I'm not a massive active trader, but I will tell you guys, no matter if you're day trader, swing trader, or long-term investor, I kind of fit in the latter two of swing trader and investor. This can still be very, very useful for you all. And again, you can cut out the noise and get the information that you want on a platform like AltFins. So I recommend you guys check it out, give it a try if you guys are interested in it. And I'll have a link down below in the description so you guys can check it out on your own. With that being said, everyone, thank you for letting me ramble on today. I appreciate it as always. There's a lot of exciting things going on in the crypto market, guys, but don't let the noise get to you. Keep disciplined on the signs that we can read throughout the market. And again, what I teach you guys here today is just my opinion and nothing more. You got to listen to other people as well. Go build your own opinions and go continue to do solid research in the market before you make any serious decisions. All right, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for tolerating me with my AirPods as I'm still waiting for the construction to go down into my previous place. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.